Let's start.
Welcome to the Ethics Guild.
Today we are starting the series about consciousness, and we're going to tackle the architecture of the unseen. And I know sometimes at the Ethics Guild podcast we talk about systematic changes, but let's think about that all systems are built by conscious actors. And think about, we've always been obsessed about the brain's mysteries because they represent the boundary of our freedom and also the secrets that nobody else can see, our privacy. Let's think about if consciousness is a physical process, can it be controlled? And if it can be controlled, would it do more good or harm to us? Would we weaponize it? Or would we use it to connect better with others? And let's think about if consciousness, if it's not a physical or non-physical spirit, let's think about how does a personal injury can change a person's personality, way of thinking. It changes the way we view the world, and it projects us to behave differently. I want to start a little bit with understanding a saying by the philosopher David Chalmers. He talks about the hard problems or the heart problem. The easy problems are things like sensory integration. Like, for example, how the brain processes light waves into the color violet. Think about it, that's just data processing. The hard problem is the qualia, the feeling of violet. What does violet represent for an individual? Why violet makes people feel in a different way. It can even increase somebody's mood. This comes to the conclusion of understanding why are we not just biologically robots. In this case, I would say philosophical zombies that processes any data without any internal light. What I'm trying to say is that conscious makes us different. Each individual perceives light, things, moments differently. And because of these experiences, your consciousness gets to grow uniquely in comparisons to others, even when you think alike with someone else. Perhaps because of this, we have this biology of awareness. We have a physical substrate. Because think about it, if we look at our physical selves, which we are hyper aware of ourselves, if we were to connect our consciousness or to upload it, we first must know where it sits. And that's the mystery. Where does consciousness sit? What space does it occupy? Besides that, we know that the brain projects consciousness. And in order for us to start understanding consciousness, we need to understand the ascending reticular activating system, which is your brain's internal alarm clock and power grid. To be more specific and go into further details, it is a dense network of neurons located in the brainstem at the very base of your brain that reaches up into the highest parts of your brain, what we call the cortex. But what is its function? It has one primary job, and believe it or not, it's probably one of the things that keeps us alert, is the arousal. It determines whether the lights are on or off in your conscious mind. We can say is the master switch. It transitions you to or from sleep to awakeness. When you wake up in the morning, your aras has ignited your cortex. We should also consider it a gatekeeper. And why a gatekeeper? It filters the billions of bits of data hitting your senses. It decides what is important enough to wake up your conscious mind. This is why you can sleep through a car alarm, but wake up instantly if your baby is crying. Fascinating, right? But that's not only its function. It is also the energy provider. It provides that steady hum of electricity that allows you to stay alert at all times. And without this, you wouldn't be able to be focused throughout the day. It is definitely the on and off switch button in our brain. And what are the consequences if the aras is damaged or doesn't function well? The consequences are you go into a deep coma. But let's not mix one thing with another. The aras provides the arousal, but it does not provide the content. Two different things. What am I trying to say? That you are awake, but there's nobody home yet. And to further dive deep into consciousness, we must understand the thalamic hub. The thalamus is the center relay, but to be more specific, it's the intralaminar nuclei of the thalamus are crucial for consciousness. Why? Because small lesions in this area can cause a total loss of consciousness. It acts like a sync pulse for the entire cortex. This is where I could say where things synchronize so the information can be transmitted. And now we're going to dive a little deeper. And there's a lot of controversy about this. These two zones in the brain, which we call the posterior hot zone versus the prefrontal cortex. And I'm going to explain why there's some controversies on this. In neuroscience, they're debating, more specifically the global workspace theory. They argue that consciousness happens in the front of the brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex, where you reason, where you plan, where we judge. But integrated information theory argues that the back of the brain is where consciousness resides. And more specifically, we're talking about the parietal, we're talking about the occipital lobes. And this is more of your, where there's more sensory. But let's think about this a little bit. The argument is consciousness in the back or the front? If consciousness is in the back and it's based on sensory, then animals with high sensory integration are as conscious as us. But if it's in the front where we exist, where our logic sits, then consciousness is a privilege of higher reasoning, which makes us the only species with consciousness. Let me ask you guys what you think. What is your hypothesis about consciousness? Regardless of where it sits, to the front, to the back. What have been your experience with consciousness? And what is your hypothesis about consciousness? I will share you mine. My point of view is more of a global neuronal workspace. Biologically, the posterior hot zone, the back, and the prefrontal cortex, the front, they are linked by high-speed fiber optic cables. They're called long-range axons. I hypothesize that for a thought to become conscious, it must ignite somewhere, somehow. And this can only happen if the neurons in the back and front fire in perfect synchrony. They're orchestrated. They work together. Because think about this. The back of your brain processes the past. It takes sensory data that just happened and compares it to the stored memories. The prefrontal cortex or the front calculates the future. It predicts it. And it's trying to predict what would happen next. It's taking a guess. It's projecting itself with hundreds of possibilities, if not more. To me, consciousness is the collision of these two. Awareness isn't located in the front or the back. It is the tension in the wire between them. They're all interconnected. Let's think about, to give a better understanding on this. To create a precise information for the present, the brain needs a clock. Scientists have observed gamma waves pulsing between the front and the back of the brain. The pulse almost acts like a connection, like a handshake, being in agreement. The back says, here is the sensory reality, the past. The front says, here is the goal, which is the future. When they shake hands 40 times per second, they create a present that is stable and precise. Without that handshake, reality will feel like a fragmented, lagging video stream. You're loving the Ethics Guild podcast? Don't want to miss any new episodes? Want to be part of our panel and be our guest? Subscribe, leave us a comment, be part of the community of the Ethics Guild podcast. We need more people we need people that are brave, to speak up for what's right, to stand for justice and dignity. Become one of us. Be part of the Ethics Guild podcast community, and let's journal to endless possibility where we all become one. Don't forget, subscribe.
Who's and I?
In the silent static, the hard problems in the way, how the raw data from my senses turns to a vivid day. I feel the symphony of colors, every thought a flash. Is it the meat inside the cranium or a non-physical dash? I feel the weight of every choice and the logic in the code. The mind's a private universe that helps me walk this road. This ghost inside the wires makes us feel and makes us think. Yeah, it makes us feel and makes us think.